So it would not have given the foundations to think from there. It's basically to raise your DC, your basic offshoot, from where you can think and see the world from. And as far as the core business ideas are germinating every moment and minute. So that's a different thing. Spotting the opportunity happens lifelong. But I think formal education, the foundations of it, the basis of it, had a profound impact.
You had a question, right? Yes, Sandar.
Good afternoon, sir. This question, there's a question might be right that we don't step in the same river twice. But I have this question that I've read it somewhere. The aim of education is not obtaining results but powers, the means by which endless solutions may be brought. So I was thinking, you have been entrepreneurs, you have all been entrepreneurs for quite some time. So, like in hindsight, what mental framework basically, because there are people, you put them anywhere and they have this business acumen or this acumen of getting things done. So what framework and what, if to conceptualize in condensed form, would it be? Like I was blind and now I see this thing. After there's this rookie mistake you make after having experience, you get your whole jolted out of one framework into better perspective. So in that sense,
It's for me? It's for me?
yeah.
Okay. I would say it's not just one framework, it's an overlay of a number of frameworks, and there is some framework which evolves, and probably some good theoretician or academician might build it. That's why managerial theories are so evolving every moment and things like that. So it's, I think, like the ellipse, there are two focus. One is the commitment, bottom line, and the second is to make that transformation. Between those two poles, the entire drive happens. Because any idea you take up, it has to be evolved and evolved and evolved. It has to be mulled over again and again. It's like sticking to it without getting bored. Like, अभी तो एक semester के बाद subject बदल जाते हैं, but business lines don't change. You have to just keep on doing it for the whole span of your career. That's what it might be.
Yeah, you want my perspective on that? See, I'm not too sure if I understood your question, but if I have, I would say that. So I would answer it differently. Okay. To my mind, knowing too many things before you start is also not a good thing. I mean, then you start thinking that okay, this can go wrong, this can go wrong, this can go wrong, and then you not end up starting right. For last more than 12 months, I've thought of more than 50 different ideas, and in every one of them, I've been able to find okay, this will not work. I would not have been able to think of those negatives. In fact, I shouldn't have thought of those negatives. Each one of those ideas, to my mind, were good, right? So sometimes knowing too much is not that good a thing. You'll anyway find your way by hard work. You know, things will not work in the first go in any case. So yeah, your conviction matters a lot.
So, talking about frameworks, I mean, coming back from consulting perspective, I sort of look at frameworks as a simplification to a simplifying tool to explain complex structures easily. Unfortunately, over the last 2 years, 1.5 years that I've been in entrepreneurship itself, I don't really see a framework right now evolving in my mind for entrepreneurship as it is. There's too many different variables, and anybody can do anything in any different format, and it may or may not work, right? And so there's no defining principle that this is how it will be if this person does it or this person does it, or if you do it this way or if you do it this way. The final outcome for entrepreneurship doesn't really have a logic that you should take as predefined. If you really, the only variable that is constant, that is required for entrepreneurship or an entrepreneur to succeed is passion. If you have that, you will succeed. You have a good chance of succeeding. If you don't, there's a high probability of failure. No other variable has a
Yeah, I'll just summarize things. Actually, we have come to a long conclusion to a long day. Okay, and I'll thank all of them. So somebody was saying, does education help? Possibly not. But one of the reasons why all these three are in the dais today is because we share a connection from IIT Kharagpur. I'm sure all of them were in the midst of very difficult times. Deepak was traveling from Chandigarh. Munish comes from a very different part of NCR from which we are. And Raghav, of course, had a busy day, right? And all of them volunteered to come, not because of just one connection, which was the IIT connection. I think that is what your education gets you. It's the peering and it's a peer. See, we have not talked for many years. I mean, last I met Raghav was in 2010, Manish around that time. Of course, Deepak I met a bit early, but that was again 12 years after we left colleges. It's something that stays, and that network stays, that is what drives it, right? Now, does it spot an idea? I don't think so. But I think what it does is, it enables you to connect to somebody and say that, hey, I want to discuss this, can I talk to you now? And maybe that's the connection that you need to even get started, right? Now, I'll just summarize, we will not come up with a right answer or a wrong answer, possibly there are none. But then there are some things which I want you to take home. First thing, that entrepreneurial learning is not one-way traffic. The more educated does not have a benefit over the lesser educated. And I think all of them were referring to in some form or the other. What it enables you to, is to jump, decide where to jump from. Whether you're jumping from Mount Everest or first floor, that's all the difference that you're making, right?
And Bill Gates was able to build Microsoft
without any formal education. So therefore, that is one of the reasons why we invited people to come over who had informal businesses, and that's what we shared in the first time. Now, this is what C.K. Prahlad was referring to in his last work before he actually expired, is that the next big idea will come from the streets of Chandni Chowk and not in any AC room, right? And if you can figure out what sells in Chandni Chowk, you'll figure out what sells, right?
If I may add one thing, education, we're talking about educated, I think formal education. I think that is sort of an artificial boundary that we're creating here. Any entrepreneur that I have met, for whatever the degrees that they might have, the one thing that I have seen to be very constant across is their passion for learning. Let's not confuse education with learning. These years that you have allocated to you purely for learning are separate, but through life you have to keep learning, you have to keep reading, whatever you're passionate about, whatever you're working on, you have to continue to learn about that. That is critical for entrepreneurship. Education might not be, learning is. So work on that.
And finally, I think what they've all concurred is get out of textbooks. Textbooks are there, meant to teach you, but then that's the end of the world. Now, if you want some big names, think of Kishore Biyani. It's a street venture, makes it big, makes it huge. Shubroto Ray, he has, of course, run into problems now, but then think of where he started off with. Dhirubhai Ambani, O.P. Jindal, just to name a few, right? So therefore, what we will not identify as to what should be the approach. Possibly there is none. The idea is, where do you begin with? So in the first case, or the first set of speakers that we were coming across, entrepreneurship for them was an accident. They had nothing to do, nowhere better to go, ventured. Now, the third people, or this third panel, is a group of people who had an opportunity, like opportunity cost in the sense that they were working, they could have taken up work, and then they spotted something, left, and now they're driving something, right?
In fact, yeah, I'd like to say that, see, at this stage of your life, think of it as, what do you have to lose? I mean, what would you lose if you, let's say, spend 1 year, 2 year, 1.5 year? See, in that period, you'll be able to figure out whether it is working for you or not. Even if it is not working, I can tell you for sure that you'll be 100 times more wiser. You'll do a lot better in your jobs if you spend initial 2-3 years of your life into doing something on your own. And the chances are that if you are able to cross that period of 2.5 years into doing something on your own, that you'll be able to crack it.
Chalo, with the final words of wisdom, I think we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
We have some small mementos.